Tell Steve to do it for me. Maybe we'll save a dad from going through what I went.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we are.
We're live.
We're live.
We're on. We're on. Let me go share it real quick.
Yep. And then we will. And okay. Okay. Hold on.
Right.
Do you want it to be shared on your Facebook page, or you'd rather it not be?
No, let's just do it on yours.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Okay.
I just use mine for business.
Yeah, so I didn't tag it or anything.
Okay.
So hello. Let me just see. I think Julie's just entered the. Let me just let Julie in. I think she's joining.
Oh, she's coming on the lot. She's coming on the Zoom.
I guess. Okay, so where is my Greater Waltham Recovery Solutions mission is to connect those with substance use disorder to recovery treatment services. Additionally, we offer scholarships to safe and effective sober living, educate the public through community outreach, and help veterans access premier quality treatment. Our organization embraces cultural diversity and is inclusive of every race, religion, sexual orientation, veteran status, socioeconomic background, disability, and age group. So that's our mission.
That's our mission. Let's
Yep.
go. We've been doing a great job. We've been placing people, getting scholarships for people for sober living. So thank you to everybody who's been donating. You've been helping out greatly. We appreciate you.
And then we're going to do our Vanna White, where we're going to spin the wheel. And for everyone watching, whatever number it lands on, we ask that you donate that amount. If you don't have it, don't worry. You can donate more, donate less. And all this money is going to our scholarship fund to get people into safe, reputable, sober living, which we've been continuing to do. So let's spin it. The number was 13. Lucky 13. Mike, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. So $13 for angels. Angels are people that are out there still in active addiction. Once they get ready, once they get willing, we want to have money in our fund to fund their sober living. So we want to never have to say no. We want to always be able to have something in that fund to allocate towards sober living for people in need. So please donate if you can. If you enjoy watching us, you enjoy helping out, $13 is the suggested donation for tonight.
And tonight's guest is my friend, Steve Sweeney, who's, a great person who has long-term recovery. And, we're going to hear him talk about his story and kind of have a fun, interactive conversation. We ask people to comment. We already have some comments. Rory Sly says, hi, all.
Hey, Rory.
Hey, Rory.
Olga Anna Gomez says she just got 3 months. Thank you guys for giving me the support. That's awesome. My mom said, hi, lucky number 13. It is a lucky number. And Blake Rickardson said, word, W-O-R-D. What does that mean? Isn't that a synonym for something or whatever it's called? What is it, Mike?
Acronym? I don't know. I forget.
Karen Caprio said, hi, everyone. And Sean Canizaro said, hi, everyone. Thanks again. Congrats, Olga. And Denise Pixley said, hello, folks. So those are the comments so far, and we can kick it off.
Hi,
All right.
Jess.
Hi,
So Steve, how's it going? Nice to have you on.
Thank you. It's a real honor to be on. And, you guys just have to tell me when I'm not coming in, because technology, I suck at it. So
Yeah.
let me know if you can hear me. Okay.
You're good so far.
All right. So why don't you just ask me a question and then I'll talk.
So tell us a little bit about your relationship with addiction. Like where did your addiction
Okay,
start?
so I grew up in Charlestown where the drinking age is 12,
Yeah.
But I think I drank early because that's what everybody did, peer pressure. And I grew up in the 60s, so I started with alcohol. And then we just did whatever was in front of us. So what was there was alcohol and marijuana. So I did that. And then I had some experience with LSD, which I keep forgetting that I did it, but it was quite memorable. And I sucked at everything. I was a bad drinker. My friend always said, I hate you because you don't know what your drink is, you know. But I did marijuana, and then I did LSD, like I said. And I think in the beginning that, especially with the drinking, it was a lot of fun in the beginning. But with marijuana, it turned on me and I became very paranoid, and LSD also, it became very paranoid. And it's a very sad thing to be paranoid. My mother was in a nursing home toward the end of her life, and she had what's called dementia, and you get very paranoid. And it's a very sad thing because it's fear, you know, it's fear of other people and being around other places. And when I would see her up there, it would always remind me of my paranoia when I was under the influence of marijuana, and especially cocaine. So I'm gonna kind of jump around, but the greatest gift of my sobriety was I was able to visit my mother in the nursing home for the last 12 years of her life. And my mother was a remarkable person. She was like the embodiment of Christian love, and she lived, it was either 2 weeks away from 103 or 103. And I just had all kinds of miracles in my life. So I went from drinking in Charlestown. Then at 19, I became an actor. And in order to be a stage actor, which I was, you need a lot of discipline. You need a lot of focus. You need to learn your lines. And I was great. And then I was doing a one-man show, and I fell into stand-up comedy. And then we started doing that at a place called the Ding Ho in Cambridge. And I started like drinking, you know, they had an actual drink called the Suffering Bastard, if you can believe that, you know. And so then I was introduced to cocaine, and I just want to give you a moment that was really significant in my life. I was out in Lexington with some band, and they put out cocaine. I didn't know what it was. And I said, well, what is it? They said cocaine. And one guy said, it's not addictive. And the other guy said, you know, just think about what you're doing. And anyway, the dialogue went, there's nothing to it. It's not addictive, whatever. And so what I see out there now is the same misinformation going on with kids, you know, with this and that. Ecstasy. I can remember hearing all this bad information about things not being addictive. Anyway, I did it. I fell in love. I did one line, and all of a sudden my posture was better. I felt like everything that I had to say was really significant. You know, I was like this really deep person from doing coke. Of course, it's all bullshit, but you know what I mean? It's like you feel profound, you know, it's like, wow, what a great thought. And yeah, I can remember being in hotel rooms and writing, and I was saying, man, this is like the most unique, it's amazing what I just wrote. This is like Hemingway. This is great. And then you wake up in the morning, you look at it, and it's complete shit. It's the most trite thing. So, you know what I mean?
So it didn't hit that well after the fact.
I didn't hear you, Michael.
I said so.
What?
So what you wrote when you were on coke didn't hit that well after the fact.
Oh, for Christ's sakes, it was ridiculous. It was like the sky is blue. You could be 8 years old and write that shit. I mean, I have a master's in writing. See, I loved, my father passed away when I was 15, and then all the gates opened up. I was involved in unarmed robbery, this, that, you know, Charlestown. And I went on the road because Jack Kerouac, of course, wrote the great book On the Road. And I wanted to live this life that wasn't mine, but I thought it'd be great, you know, like I admire writers, Hemingway, Faulkner, Kerouac, Steinbeck, Eugene O'Neill, all those guys, all the great American writers were also alcoholics. So I got that part of it right. The actual writing of it, you know, that was another story. So I'm basically, what I do for a living is I'm an actor, but I do stand up and I produce and I'm in showbiz, and I had a lot of opportunities because I have a lot of talent, and I don't mind saying that because it's a gift from God, you know, and that's what I feel like life is about, is developing whatever you have and then sharing it with other people. So people may hear it as ego, but it's really not. I know when I'm being egotistical. So because of what the gifts that God did give me, I had some opportunities, but I got deeper and deeper into my addiction. One incident really stands out. I was on the David Letterman show on a Friday night, and my friends laugh about this. And then I was passed out in the bushes, the fens, on a Saturday night. Mark Parento, who was a DJ at BCN, he had like this little party, and I was passed out. And I can remember, if you know that feeling of being passed out, it's like you're not quite asleep, but your eyes are closed and you can hear people.
Yep.
And these two guys were over me, and one of them said, "That I'm telling you, that guy was on Letterman last night." You know, I'm like this, and the other guy said, "He's a fucking wino. What are you talking about? The guy's a bum." And I get up and I kind of corrected the guy. But that's what happened. You know, we all have different triggers. I think for me, I never felt comfortable with success. You know, I just didn't feel like I was worthy of it. It wasn't what I was brought up with or whatever. You know, our idea of success was like, you know, the fire department or whatever. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I didn't like getting all that attention. It triggered me. But anyway, this went on and on. I ended up drinking for 30 years, and I did coke for 20 years. I can remember being up on Beacon Hill, and it was a Monday night. I did coke every night. And it was like 2 a.m, and the guy in the house, I was up there with another guy, and he said, "Screw you assholes." And I said to this friend of mine, I said, "He's talking to us like we're addicts, you know?" And my friend said, "Like we're addicts?" You know, 2 a.m. So I hate to do this because it sounds like an excuse, but.
He just froze. You just froze. Hold on. You're froze. You're muted.
You gotta unmute him.
I know, I'm trying.
Unmute the motherfucker.
We missed the
All right,
punch.
wait a minute.
We
That
missed
was a
it.
good
All
setup.
right, hold on.
Hold on, I have a couple comments too first. And just a reminder, our lucky number was 13. If anyone out there can donate.
The lucky number is 13.
Yep, at Recovery Solutions is the Venmo, and the PIN code is 0143. So our good friend Ryan, Steve, said he's watching Celtic Pride in the background. Ryan from the meeting.
Can you say that again?
Yep,
Ryan said what?
He's watching Celtic Pride in the background.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah, so I've done a lot of movies, and but I do want to tell you, because I have a job in the field, and I used to have a program for kids, and what they always said to me, you know, "What made you stop?" And I don't have, you know, kids want this one dramatic event, but to me, the closest thing that would be most accurate was I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. I was totally exhausted. I went to High Point, which is a rehab down in Plymouth. And they said, "What do you want?" And all these people were in a circle. This one wanted their family back. This one wanted a house, whatever. I just wanted to be able to sleep. You know, that was my whole thing. I was totally and completely emotionally, physically, and spiritually exhausted. So I bounced. For those of you in the program know what that is. I would come in from LA. I was coming from LA to Boston every other week. And even on the plane, I was saying to myself, I won't use. And then I got here and even driving the car, even picking the Coke up, I said, I'm not going to use. That's how crazy it was. I was engaged to be married, and I had to have the wedding in the afternoon because I literally hadn't been up in the morning like in years. You know, I'd been up, but I hadn't slept.
Yep.
So, I mean, that turned around. I did 5 years of morning radio for ZLX. Can you hear that fucking dog?
Yeah.
Can you? I'm going to put them both in a room. This is what you should get 20. I should get $20. This is a comedy routine. I have to put them both in a freaking room.
Send us the invoice.
Yeah, because you know what it is? One dog takes the food of the other one.
Yeah.
This, you know, and one, all right, you're going in there. Hold on.
We love
All right.
this off the cuff.
We love it. We love it.
Interrupting.
We're very improv. We're very improv driven.
Yep, we are.
Well, you know what? That's another thing about being sober. You can be responsible.
Yep.
And to me, the real Zen masters are dogs. They're always in the moment, and it's unconditional love. And anyway, so I don't really tell my story a lot, so I'll just wrap it up. I went in there, and then I got out, and she left, and I thought that was the end of the world. And I felt an emptiness and a loneliness being sober when I get out of rehab. So, but I made it, you know, I made it. First year, finally woke up 6 months into sobriety. I didn't know what the feeling was. The feeling was being well rested, and I couldn't have remembered how to do that. And I started to notice nature. And that's where I found my higher power. I would go to the national parks. I've been to Zion, Bryce, Yellowstone, Yosemite, Montana, Glacier. That's what I do in the summers before COVID hit. This last summer, I was going to go to Alaska, but you know, we got hit with COVID. So June 9th will be 29 years. Jess and Murph are going to give me my thing because this is a we program. And I watched Murph, besides going through what he's had to go through the last few years, and I'm not going to tell his story, but
He's been on the show.
But
Oh, you're muted. You're muted again. Hold on.
there we go.
There
How
we
we
go.
doing now? All right.
Beautiful.
So I watched Murph go through what he had to go through emotionally and just hang in there every day. But more than that, just be of service, not bringing attention to himself. And I just really admired it. It turns out his cousin was one of the real heroes of Charlestown. His name was Michael Quinn. He was a lieutenant in the Marine Corps. And Michael, growing up, was like this leader. Even as a kid, you could tell. We used to play football in the projects. He was a captain of Boston Latin. Then he went to Holy Cross, and then he went in the Marine Corps. And he died. He was 22. And so God has a funny way of doing things. I'll tell you a little miracle. It's very funny. Two months ago, this guy called me up. I had forgotten who he was. He wanted to get back into the program. And I took him to the meeting that we have out there in Newton in the tent, which I found and which was great. But anyway, I said, wow, those are cool shades. You know, I love sunglasses. I'm kind of obsessed with them.
Yeah, you are.
And he said, oh yeah, Jessica wears really cool aviator glasses. She's like kind of a Joe Biden kind of glasses. But anyway, so I said, these are really cool shades. And he said, well, just take them. I got another one. And they were Ray-Bans, you know, expensive, whatever. So last week, Jess, this other guy was in a meeting in Charlestown. And I was just talking to him after the meeting. And I said, wow, those are cool shades. And they were Ray-Bans too. And he gave them to me and he had them. So the lesson for me was I took a little time got these great sunglasses. So I told him, I said, if you find a newcomer with Maui Jims, you know. But the other job I have is I work at Plymouth House of Corrections and Norfolk, and I'm in the field, and I've had anxiety attacks over the years. And 15 years into my sobriety, I finally came to terms. No, it was 10 years with depression, and I'm on an antidepressant, and it worked for me great. And so I'm talking about these other things because alcoholism is not just alcohol. It's those underlying things. So my point is, I took a course in meditation and mindfulness, and I learned about breathing for my own anxiety. And now I teach that in the jails. And that's what I do. I go to AA, I go to Al-Anon, I go to therapy. I do whatever I need to do. And I have to say that I enjoy it. I'm one of those guys who actually likes going to meetings because I find that I really like the people. And sometimes I'll go to a meeting and it's between going to a meeting and maybe getting lunch or going to a meeting and doing this. And then I go and I'm so moved that it's like, wow, this is like much more profound or whatever. So I think my message, if anybody's listening, I mean, I know you got close to 40 people, right, that watch this podcast.
Yeah, 40.
But anyway, if any
On a good day.
my
On a
message,
good day.
on a good day, you got 40. But
right now, I think it's
even
24 people.
all right,
so.
but anyway, even 24, that's fine, that's plenty. But what's worked for me is what I heard was the meetings are the medicine. So I go to the meetings. The other thing was a grateful heart will never drink. So if I can remind myself to be grateful, I have to do that every day. And, you know, try to be positive because you'll live longer and things will look different. But it's all of this is work for me. It's an effort. I'm not naturally grateful, not naturally positive, any of that. So every day, and keep it in the day. I was talking to my brother who was making plans to come here, and I said, Jimmy, I really don't think past today, you know, and that's what I do. That's it.
So we
Good
have
stuff.
So Sarah said, "Hi, Steve." Tommy.
Oh, Sarah from the Bulldogs.
Yeah.
Is that Sarah from the Bulldogs?
Yeah. She said,
yeah. The Bulldogs are. Sarah is one of the runners from the Bulldogs, and I went on their donut run, which was unbelievable. I'm still obsessed with these donuts from Blackbirds. Is that the name of the place?
I have not.
It was unbelievable.
I don't run.
Yeah, Sarah is one of the people that I was lucky enough to meet at that meeting in Newton. A lot of great people.
Tommy Coccavaro said, "Stevie Boy Sweeney, what's up?"
Tommy, okay, yeah. How are you?
Denise Pixley said, "LOL." Allison Payne said, "Hello from Ansonia, Connecticut." Did I say that right?
Oh, I don't know.
Sounds right.
Does that sound right? Kent Berry said High Point because he, giving support.
Oh, good.
Allison Payne said very funny dog.
These dogs! Oh my God! All right, go ahead.
They're the best. Yeah, and Julie said all the basics, good stuff. So, Mike, do you again magic number 13?
13. Please donate. We got nothing so far, so
nothing
step it up.
So far.
Step it up. So Steve,
Jess, I'll give you $13 when I see you, Jess. Perfect. Okay, go ahead, Michael.
No, Steve, you talked about having anxiety attacks. Was that because of like working in treatment and dealing with that transference?
No. This was, but that's a good question. When I went in, this is so interesting that we are really not in touch sometimes. And I thought I was having a heart attack, and I went to the emergency room. They checked my heart. This would happen several times. My heart was fine. And the guy would say, do you have any stress? And I said, no, I don't have any stress. He said, well, what's going on in your life? I said, well, my mother's in the hospital and this one's got cancer and, you know, this and that. And he said, you don't think you have any stress? So I was kind of out of touch. You know what I mean? I was kind of out of touch with that.
Right.
You know, yeah. So the answer, just like I believe in recovery, is prevention. You know, don't get to a point where you're so stressed out. You have to learn how to let things go. I mean, I did anyway. You know, it's not something that comes easy for me. Let it go, let it go, let it go. And also, I believe the physical life is so important. You know, you look like you're in good shape, Michael. How long are you sober?
It'll be 10. I can't give myself 11 yet. It'll be 11 years in May.
Wow. Congratulations. That's a life changer. Yeah.
Yeah, well, Jess and I were talking before the show because we do boxing for recovery, me and my friend Orlando. So we incorporate like boxing and kind of like the mindfulness like you with like the breathing and all that stuff, and how it's so important when, you know, we're dealing with addiction, like to, you know, release the dopamine into the brain and get those endorphins firing on all cylinders. And
yeah,
like just,
you know, you and I should talk because my father trained fighters. I love the sport of boxing. I'll tell you what weight that really focuses your mind is doing the speed bag.
Oh yeah.
You know, because if you're not in the moment,
yeah,
or if you're in the ring and you're saying, wow, look at that babe in the second row, boom, you're going to get hit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. In the moment.
So you work in the jails, right? What kind of, are you there as like a recovery support person, or what kind of resources are they even offered?
Well, I have a master's in psychology.
Wow.
So I got that from UMass. It's counseling.
Yeah.
But I do groups, and I do goal setting, and I do it's kind of a mindfulness thing. I teach a method of meditation that just involves breathing, but technically it's called impulse control, because people in jail, they act out. One of the things I always say is, you guys act out with your fists. I've been like in anger blocks and everything. I act out with like texting and words, but it's the same thing. There's impulses, those things that come up real quick. And a lot of guys I grew up with, being from Charlestown, end up in prison, you know. So I always felt very comfortable talking to those guys. It's a weird thing, you know, but I wasn't expecting to be doing that work. I did work with kids, and I have another program that I want to work through the jail about getting kids before they start, you know, like before they start, first offenders. There's a lot of peer pressure. There's a lot of misinformation. They think everybody's doing it. No, not everybody is doing it. They think marijuana is harmless. No, it's not. The science, I can go into a long thing about the science that says it's not harmless. So anyway, how are you doing? Why don't you guys talk about yourselves now? I'm exhausted. Go ahead. And we got another half hour.
Go ahead.
How are you doing? Michael, how are you doing in your recovery?
Ooh.
In my recovery,
what are the challenges?
Well, I have a 3-year-old, and I just took him to Florida, so not doing well in my recovery right now. But in general, like you said, all the basics. I got to be present. I got to show up. I got to stay in the moment as best I can. That's the most difficult aspect for any of us, you know, always anxious about the future and depression about the past. You know, it's hard to just stay centered in the middle. Like, I like how you talked about the breathing, the breath work, and it's so important to just give yourself that room to like breathe, and, you know, done correctly, it really can shift your whole mindset.
So you're a father. That's a huge responsibility.
That's a huge stressor. Yeah. I spend most of my days just trying to keep him alive.
Yeah. Just keep him fed and breathing.
Yeah.
No, you know, I don't see that as a stressor. I see that as responsibility, love. You know, it's like when people say to me, well, dogs are a lot of work. I never think that way because I'm connected to them, you know?
Yeah, I love that. No, I wouldn't change it any other way.
Right.
There's nothing better feeling than coming home and getting that, 3-foot person to give you a hug and make all your pain go away from whatever you encountered at work.
Do you have a midget living with you?
Yeah.
Now, are you married, Michael?
Engaged to be married.
Okay. And
Yeah.
so is she the mother of the child?
She's the mother. I like
Oh,
this.
that's good. That's
Yeah.
good.
Um,
Jess, let's talk about you. How's your
Well,
recovery going?
it's excellent.
Don't
You
lie.
feel, do you feel like you're on top of it?
I think I could be better, especially lately. It's hard when, job, like you guys are talking about the stressors, jobs and sometimes especially when there's like a kind of, we don't have our meetings aren't completely open right now. We don't have as much. How blessed were we before COVID to be able to go to a meeting at 7 a.m., 12 p.m., 6 p.m.,
Yeah.
7 p.m. And now it's hard, when I'm getting out of work at 6 o'clock and can't even make it to the 6, it's stressful, but I gotta stay vigilant. I gotta be better about it because I know whatever I start putting in front of my recovery first I'm going to lose first.
I was at a meeting today where a guy got a year, another guy got 38 years the same day. We were all outside in Charlestown, and this guy said to the guy who got a year, the beautiful guy, his name's Ryan. He said, "Wow, you know what? You did it now. This is a hard time to do it now.
Yeah.
Just starting to get sober, and all you have is the Zoom meetings."
I can't imagine. I give a lot of credit to the people who have done it. Speaking of one, he's not watching through Facebook. I guess he's streaming on his TV. Our friend Mark is watching, so we can say hi to Mark.
Hi, Mark.
You know Mark from the meeting.
Mark's for the Bulldogs too.
Yeah, our meeting people have now turned into Bulldogs. And Julie.
Well, dogs, they run and then they eat donuts. I mean, they know how to live.
Yeah. Oh.
Hey, did I get lost here for a moment?
Okay. No, you're good.
Didn't even notice. Julie, our friend Julie said, "Thanks, Steve. This is awesome." Rory said, "Congratulations, Michael. 10 years. Bravo." He's coming up.
Thank you.
11, one day at a time.
One day at a time.
Let's see. And then Denise Pixley said, "I love meditation. So powerful for the mind and body."
Yeah. If you don't want to meditate, there's a woman on what do they call that? YouTube. Her name is Kim Ung, E-N-G. All she does is says, breathe in 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and breathe out 4. And you put your hand on your chest and your hand on your stomach and see where you're breathing from. And if you're breathing shallow, that's where the anxiety, the anger, and everything else is. Deeper is peace and love. And it's only a 10-minute meditation, but like what I found with the inmates is they can't just sit down and meditate. So I found this breathing thing. I also do the William Hoff thing. And Kundalini yoga, which is the breath of fire. And it's really been a life changer for me. And it's good when we're in the program that we can share tools that aren't necessarily the program,
Right. That's it. Oh, did he freeze again?
I think so. But
so anyway, friend, who's frozen now? This is like an ice cream.
No,
store.
we're good now. So Steve, do you do both Zoom meetings and in-person meetings, or are you just in person right now?
Yeah, I'm just an in-person. Although I've done what we're doing now, Zoom podcasts, and yeah, hey, whatever works, whatever works for people.
So I have a question for you.
Yes.
So when you were in the industry in California shooting, were you sober then, or did you get sober afterwards?
Well, number one, I'm still in the industry. I haven't passed away.
I meant. Yeah, I meant like when you were.
Jesus God. Most of my movies I did after I got sober, but I did like Back to School. I was still using an old Rodney Dangerfield movie. I did Galvin and Son back in the day, but then when I did like what's the name of it? The Money Kings with Peter Falk, and I did a movie with John Travolta called The Forger, and then 2 years ago I did The Equalizer with Denzel.
Right.
Something About Mary, Me, Myself, and Irene, Celtic Pride. That was all sober. Next Up, Wonderland. But I did some TV while I was still using. I did Evening at the Improv, like I said, The Letterman, HBO Young Comedians, you know.
Was it
But
really, was it challenging to film sober? Like, was there a lot of temptation?
Oh yeah, no, I never used while I was working. It was always afterwards.
Okay.
You know, I mean, with Sam Kennison, and I mean, we were all. That was, yeah. You know, it's like this big. It sounds like a big giant excuse, but like I went to the William Morris agency. This is in the '80s, and the guy laid out some coke, and he said, "Oh, would you like a line?" You know, it was like normal. You know, but. What I say now in meetings, or I've said, is if I was growing up now, I would do what everybody else is doing because I did whatever was in front of me. So all these kids that are on heroin and fentanyl and everything. So I'm going to give an opinion here, okay?
Okay.
I think that, I mean, you know, I grew up with guys that, you know, did certain things for a little money here and there. But I think the people that own and run drug companies should be in jail because I believe that they know they're addicting people.
Yep.
So this is my opinion, you know.
No, but that's facts too. It's not
because
like companies that produce opioid medication.
Well, I hurt my back. I got a jar of Oxycontin like that. I didn't take any of them, but I mean, there's money involved in this.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, so
that's a bit. That's not just. That's a big valid point. You know, and
well,
that's something that I know more. MOAR. They really try to push like figuring this stuff out. What happened? Why did all of a sudden this
not everybody that's addicted is an addict. If you hurt your back and they give you Oxycontin 3, 4, 5, or 6 days in a row, your body is going to crave that
Physically,
you know? Yeah. So not all those people that are addicted are addicts.
No.
You know, so this is my opinion. Now I'm going to get off my soapbox.
Oh, that was a good opinion.
It's a valid opinion, especially if there's deception when they produce
oh
these
my
drugs.
God. Yeah, I mean, all
They're
those
less
years,
addictive.
right. You know the story about the cigarette companies. They all denied that, and they knew the whole time. So me, you, Jess, Murph, everybody that's out there working in the field, we're dealing with one layer of this, but underneath it, you know, this stuff is so available. So I see that in Charlestown. It's so sad. Some kid, you know, after 3 or 4 days, they tell me they crave it. You know? So
because the body's addicted to it.
We're swimming, sure.
So I'm looking at the clock. We've got 20 more minutes, and my phone is running out of juice. So we'll keep talking, but then if it runs out, I'll run down. I'll run down and I'll charge it, whatever. Okay.
Yeah, don't worry about it. If, like I said, we're impromptu. So if it runs out,
okay.
How much % do you have now?
I just got this little flash, and it said your battery is running low. And then I said thank you, and then I went back to the show.
Yeah, it's probably 20%. So you should be
okay. All right.
I got a question. Would your drinking and use of Coke, would it get worse when you flew out to LA, or would it be worse when you were in Boston?
You know the funny thing, Michael, when I was in LA, I didn't touch anything.
Yeah.
My whole trigger was back here.
With Boston.
Isn't that weird?
No, because I mean, it's dark, it's gray, it's cold.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny you say that because they say you shouldn't have a geographical cure. But when I was in California, the sun was shining. I was saying, why would I even think of doing anything else?
Right.
Sometimes, like when a guy's getting out of jail, I say sometimes, a geographical thing works. I mean, he's going back to the same neighborhood in Brockton or wherever, the same triggers. Maybe you should move to another state. Maybe you should start a new life,
Yeah.
I saw that
You know-
even with my friend Michael, Murph's son, like something he every time he came back, or he'd go to treatment or go here and go there, and coming back, he instantly had that craving.
Yeah.
I remember one of the days he came back from treatment, he literally overdosed. He survived, but that night, left treatment, came home, and the triggers and it's everything. It's if nothing changes, nothing changes. And if you come back to the same spot and nothing's changed, it's just it triggers you to use.
Yeah.
For some people.
I really admire you and Murph so much that you're always out there giving service. That's a wonderful thing. It's wonderful for a guy like me to see it, because I don't do shit. I don't fucking pick up papers. I don't. I put my chair back once in a while. Listen to this one. Once I was the coffee maker in Braintree, and I made it so strong. Everybody was like raising their hand that normally don't talk. It was like everybody's doing coke. And they said, "All right, Sweeney, you'll be all right. You don't have to make the coffee." I was relieved of that duty.
On purpose.
We all serve in our own way. I'll tell you what I try to do, which might be something that people could think about. At the end of every meeting, I try to go over to somebody who's new and struggling and spend some time with them. And like even this guy it didn't mean anything to me, but he texted me. He said, "You don't know what that meant to me," and all that. And it didn't, it was just easy for me. But for that person that's new, sometimes they feel so isolated, and
Right.
overwhelmed and scared that just somebody, you reach out your hand, So I'm saying, a lot. I haven't done this that much.
Right.
Go ahead.
I was scared shit my first meeting. We talked about a geographical cure. I think it's case by case. It depends where the person's mindset is. Because me, like you talked about Charlestown, like I got sober in Charlestown. Like I went through the Charlestown Recovery House back in 2010, and like built that community. Has such great AA. Like
Yeah, it is. I was involved when that started. A guy named Kevin Smith in Charlestown started that whole thing, but myself and other comedians, we did a bunch of fundraisers for that place.
Yeah, it's a good, amazing facility. And like I grew up right over the bridge. I ran around East Boston, Chelsea, and Revere, and I got sober pretty much in my stomping grounds. And I think it's just like where you're at. Some people need to be removed from that environment, I think. But I was just so beaten and willing that I would have got sober anywhere.
I think now
Michael just.
No, I think you're free. You're the ice cream.
Did I freeze or did he freeze?
You did. You're in the freezer. Ian Julie said,
all right, we have 15 more minutes to fill, Jess.
we're pleased. We'll be fine.
We'll be fine.
Diane Julie.
All right, okay.
Diane Julie said, "Hey Steve, when you gonna play when you learn to play pickleball, come to Lynn. LOL."
You know what? That's another really beautiful person, Diane. She was so inspiring to me. She climbs mountains. She's climbed like 27 mountains or whatever. I don't want to break her in, and I sort of just did. But anyway, the point is, people do remarkable things after they're sober, You just, you don't know what you like until you sober up. I thought I liked all that shit I was doing, loud nightclubs and going to restaurants where you have to yell over each other. I like quiet, I like going to Barnes and Noble and reading books and not buying them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, you like to do that too, don't you?
Yeah. What do you read? Hey, what are you reading now?
I love novels. I'm reading a Philip Roth book, but as far as self-help books, there's a book there's a couple of books that I recommend. Michael Singer, called The Surrender Experiment. He looks for signs in his life and he just gives up to it. He said, this is a sign, and he just followed that. His other book is called The Untethered Soul.
Oh, I've read that. Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes I'll go back to Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now, but I always read Ram Dass every week. He wrote a book called Be Here Now. I find the Eastern religions, it's very, very in sync with AA. I read a lot of Buddhist stuff. I feel like even though you're just reading, you're not actually meditating or doing what they say, it does calm my mind down. You know?
For sure.
I'm trying not to be in front of screens like all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've had problems sleeping, and I find it's better to read and fall asleep than to watch TV, because like if I see The Godfather on TV, I can't stop watching it. I've probably seen it 50 times. And
Sure.
it's the greatest movie of all time, that and The Godfather Part 2. And I'm up all night thinking about knocking off Joey Zaza. He doesn't have the wit. Anyway, so we got to be careful what we put up here,
Takes you
this
back
last
to your
year,
drinking.
yeah, of violence, whatever. But my true passion and love is acting. So every night I watch a movie and I go on demand and I pick out an actor and I study them. If everything goes right, I'm going to be doing a really big movie this summer, and I can't wait to get back into it. I did a one-man show about growing up in Charlestown, and the creative life is what. There's my battery thing again.
Oh,
My battery's running out. Holy shit!
I thought we lost you.
As we're talking about technology, it says I have 10%.
10%. So 10%. You're good for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, we're
And
gonna make it.
We're gonna make it.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's me. That's the, like, a friend of mine who didn't use drugs. He used to say to us, me and my friends, "Isn't the high from the audience enough?" And as an addict, no, nothing was ever enough. But now, whatever I have in my life, I can feel, I can enjoy. When I had other things in my life before, they may have been bigger, but I didn't feel them because I didn't have feelings.
Right.
I had numbed them with all that drugs and alcohol.
Absolutely. And that's such a good point, that we feel things like, even just like right now, it's spring. My favorite time is the flowers coming out.
Oh, I know. It's beautiful.
And I never noticed that before when I was drinking and using. Like, I never really paid attention to even just the tree in my yard, the leaf, the bulb, they're starting to bloom, and it's such a peaceful feeling. It's something.
Yeah.
And you said before, a grateful heart never drinks, and that's such a good point too. Like, being grateful for the flowers. Me and one of my sponsees, we try to send gratitude lists to each other. And just those little things. I remember she had once sent me a gratitude list, and I was in this mood. I just got out of work. I was like, I think I talked about it in a meeting. I didn't even want to make my family dinner. Like, everything was just annoying me. And she happened to send me her gratitude list, and I was like, oh crap, now I got to send one back. Like, I'm not grateful for anything right now.
Right.
My 12-year-old's being rude and all this stuff. And just taking that second to think of 10 things that you're grateful for in that moment, my whole energy and mindset shifted.
That's great.
It's incredible.
You know what helps me is if you can think of yourself as a moving object, as something that's fluid, as being teachable. Like, the thinking is only the top layer of the mind. So if you take those thoughts of ingratitude or ungratitude, whatever that word is, you are now able to move those thoughts, and it will change the way you feel. But this is an enormous effort because we are so addicted to thinking, and we have to slow the mind down and then feed it the way you feed your body. And you try to feed it in a way that's going to make you feel good, but you have to want to feel good. I almost every day, there's a point in the day where I'm really fucking irritable, you know? I mean, it's like I'm a fucking, and the only thing I've learned in almost 29 years of recovery is it's not you, it's me. So
Right.
I have to take my mind. A guy told me this who was doing life in Walpole. He said he thinks of his mind as a magnifying glass. And whatever he thinks of, now this guy had done solitary and everything, and he learned about how his mind works. He said, whatever he thinks of gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So don't think of your mind as this solid thing. Think of it as a flashlight or a magnifying glass and just turn it around. But it doesn't just happen. It requires energy and effort to switch the focus. Now, what happens in meetings is if you're listening, no, you're not waiting to talk, you're listening, you quiet your mind, you're not on your cell phone because then you've split your focus. Your thinking changes. Your thinking changes. That's why there's probably 5 out of 7 days where I don't feel like going to a meeting, but I go every day, So feelings have nothing to do with it. But that's what we have. I mean, that's what works for me. What were you saying, Jeff?
So Ryan asked if you admire him. Ryan, our friend Ryan from meetings, he goes, Steve, do you admire me? He's trying to be a comedian. He doesn't realize he's not the comedian on here.
Well, there's a Ryan in Charlestown who I do really admire, got a year today. So.
No, it's Ryan, our friend from our meeting.
Yeah, Ryan. Yeah, yes, I admire you, Ryan. All right. Yes, Ryan.
We all admire.
I pray to you, for Christ's sakes. I got a statue to you. Yes. No, Ryan's a good guy. Yeah, I do admire. I admire everybody in that meeting, actually, if you want to know the actual truth, because this shit is not easy.
No, I love that.
This is a real struggle, and I can see it. I see people struggle. Yeah.
Beck FX Smith said, "Thank you, Steve." Julie asked, "What movies do you recommend?"
Oh man, I'm a movie freak. I'm addicted to movies. I saw a fantastic movie called Dunkirk. Okay, Dunkirk was a battle in World War II, where these sailors and yachtsmen came over to France and recovered these British soldiers, and it's like a war movie, but it'll give you gratitude for people being of service to each other. That's a great uplifting movie. Another movie is the movie about Winston Churchill, because we take for granted, our generation, what those people did. My father was a major in the Army in World War II. That wasn't a slam dunk. So movies like that give me tremendous inspiration and gratitude.
Murph's over there nodding his head to the movie because he clearly has seen it.
Fucking Murph, he's the best. That motherfucker. Yeah, I miss him. Oh yeah, did I swear?
That's all right.
No, it's okay. You're good. You're
fine. Okay. I think Michael from East Boston might have heard a few swears in his day.
Yeah, I think I heard a few. Yeah.
Let me see. So again, our magic number was 13.
13. I'm going to give you $13 when I see you.
Perfect. And also, don't forget.
All in nickels and pennies. Yeah.
Jeez.
Jeez, wheeze.
I gotta count them all. I'll bring a bag to count all.
All right.
Again, we're raffling off tickets, or we're selling raffles. If anyone, the Patriots item that's on our page, it has the tickets from the first 5 goals and the coins. We're selling raffles. It's what, 5 for what is it? What's the price?
$5 each, or 5 for 20.
And you can then win the raffle, or just donate to our cause. Continue scholarshiping people to safe, reputable, sober living. Also, we can take this chance to. It's not just me and Mike. We have a whole team behind us and working really hard. So our founder is Julie Bunch. Our co-founder is Deb Moore. Our social media superstar extraordinaire is Kim, and we want to have Kim in our prayers. She lost someone close to her, so just have her in our prayers. Mandy McGowan, who's killing it. Talk about Phoenix is rising from the ashes. She's unbelievable. Linda Powell, the nurse on our team. Richie Evans, the wolf. Did I hit everybody? Mike,
Kara.
Kara McLean,
Yeah.
another member of our team, Mike, who, I don't know if I'm pointing to the right direction, but, continue reaching out to us. Mike has been unbelievable in placing people, all levels of care, all insurances. It doesn't matter. Please reach out to us. We also offer free recovery coaching and scholarship and people to sober living. I think I hit it.
Boom. You got it all.
Boom. Let's see. Mike, do you have any questions?
No, I mean, just to close it out, what do you suggest to people that are new in recovery, Steve, or seeking recovery, what they can do for now while we're still in the middle of this?
Okay, you know what? Listen, I want to tell you something, and I'm not trying to be funny. I had 5 days of recovery of sober. I was in LA, and the guy congratulated me, and I thought he was breaking my balls. I wanted to, congrats. And you know what? If you have 1 day, congratulations. If you have 2 days, also, if you have 5 days, there's somebody with 4 days. It gets you out of yourself to help people. What I tell guys that are leaving, jail, go to meetings. Don't rob my house. You rob my house, my compassion's gone. And take a walk in the woods. Enjoy that, nature and feel things. But, I don't believe we had a meeting the other night on humility. And I think people more than humility need self-acceptance. So try to find a place, act as if you like yourself. I didn't like myself. I hated myself. But I had a therapist, he would say to me, what would a person who loves themselves do? And act your way into that thinking. And this is a we program. Yeah. If you got a few days, you're no different than anybody else. It's just, but you've got to hang in there. You've got to give yourself a chance. And don't be afraid to pick up the phone. Because you don't want to pick it up, that's when you should pick it up, because it'll make the difference in your life. It's been a real pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Steve. Thank you so much for being on the show. A true Boston legend, comedy legend, Steve Sweeney.
And I'm going to give you $13 in pennies.
Oh, now
one pennies and one chocolate donut. Hi to Sarah and Mark and all the rest of the Bulldogs.
And Julie's watching, and Ryan, and a bunch of
Ryan and Julie. Yeah, Ryan. I'm going to go pray to Ryan. I admire him so much.
We're going to get a statue of him.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been, awesome. You're someone I look up to in our meetings, and it's just unbelievable. You're getting 29 years, and like you said, it's 1 day at a time. And
but like I told Murph, he's got to come to the meeting to give it to me.
Right.
I'm not going to get it in front of Brigham's in fucking Newton Center. You know what I mean? You got to come to the meeting.
Right.
All right. I love you. Thanks, Jess.
Too. Well, thanks, Steve. Brian,
right.
Who squirrels in late all the time, Brian.
Oh yeah, Brian.
Yeah.
He swears more than I do.
Yeah,
which
probably.
is really saying something.
Yeah. I
right.
call him the squirrel because he always squirrels into the meeting at the last minute or squirrels out. I think Mike, you still there?
Yeah. All right, guys. Leave the world a better place than you found it. Good night.
Good night.